Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Imaginary Boys podcast. I am one of your two hosts, Mr. Habanero, and I have my secondary host right over here, who's Mr. Lettuce. How are you doing today, Mr. Lettuce?
I'm peachy.
Nice. Very nice. I am glad to hear that. I am a little out of it. So, just like always, it's just like how we normally do for our recordings, it seems like that is always true is that I just got out of bed. I have I was up for a little bit. I was actually chatting with Lettuce for a little bit right before we started, but we chatted a little bit. I've had some coffee. I'm feeling a little bit more awake, and now here we are, just kind of hanging out. So,
And this time, I was actually in bed too.
Oh, okay.
When you initially messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm up," I was like, "Oh yeah, he gets up really late."
Yeah, I do. Later and later, it seems like.
Yeah, it's getting that way.
Yeah, it's my sleep schedule has been all wonkified lately. I've just been going to bed later in the day and then getting up later in the night. And
because the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Yeah, schnozberry. Everybody likes schnozberries. It tastes just like schnoz. Yeah, I just, I've been kind of out of it. I've been, pretty busy this week. I was meeting some people, and I actually had multiple days where I didn't really get much sleep. Like, I had one day where I only got like 4 hours of sleep total, because I went to bed really late and then I had to get up relatively early. So, and then I had to go and meet somebody. So, yeah. And so it's just been weird. By the way, for anybody who regularly comes on my channel on a regular basis and watches what I'm doing, I'm sorry that I have not been crazy up to date with all the content. There's just been all sorts of things going on. So that's kind of what that's all about. And I apologize for that. But yeah. And I've been one of the things that we were talking about earlier is man, I have been way I mean, I talked about it in the last episode. In fact, actually I dedicated the entire episode, well, not the entire episode, but most of the episode to it, which is I've been way into this modified Skyrim that I've been playing, and I just can't stop playing it. And Lettuce apparently wants to get in on it too, so I have a whole mod list that I have to write out for him.
Just the important ones, the
booby ones.
Yeah, the boobs, the improved crafting.
Oh yeah, that's super nice. There is one thing that's been driving me insane that has actually made the game really hard. Well, not really hard, but relatively difficult. Is one of the best ways to, make a lot of money very quickly in the game, as well as improve a bunch of your money making based skills in the game, is to craft like gold rings out of gold bars and then enchant them and then sell them to whoever's willing to buy them. And that basically will improve your enchanting skill, your smithing skill, your speech skill, and it'll also make you a butt ton of money in the game. For some reason that I have yet to figure out, I'm assuming one of my mods is preventing it from happening, or there's some kind of glitch or something with a mod. There's no gold crafting in my game. I can't craft any gold jewelry at all. I can craft silver jewelry, but I can't craft gold jewelry. And man, it is making, acquiring money in the game very, very difficult. My character is like very poor. So that's been really, really kind of annoying. But I mean, I also told myself that, if I get really desperate for money, I can just kind of, sell my body in the game, because that's apparently an option that I can do with all of the nudity mods that I have. So
yeah. You could do that, or do it every, honest Skyrim modder does.
Mm-hmm.
Hit that tilde key.
Oh yeah, so I will admit, I did actually cheat a little bit on my game. I didn't What I did was I cheated, but I did it in a way so that it didn't like make me feel super guilty. Uh is I needed ebony. I needed a buttload of ebony. And it's really difficult to get ebony in the game. I would say it's probably one of the most difficult metals to acquire. So what I did was I did a cheat where I forced
Add
a couple.
item, add
No,
item, ebony code.
I did that, but I didn't do it for me. I did it for the NPCs. So that way, I still had to make the effort to make the gold to buy the ebony ingots from the NPCs.
Oh,
So basically, I cheated, but I didn't outright just, force it into my inventory. I basically just, all I wanted to do was I had the money to purchase it because I worked hard to get that money. And the only reason why I wanted to make that money was to buy the ebony ingots, but nobody was selling ebony ingots. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to cheat. But the way that I'm cheating is by making it so that the NPCs have it readily available and I can just buy it from them when I need to.
it would have been funnier if you just made it rain ebony ingots from the sky.
Well, the thing is, though, is like you can do that, but all the physics engines actually make them hurt you. Like I
Well,
don't
you
know
don't make it. You don't make it rain on you.
you make it rain on the NPCs. Just like
Yeah, just in the middle of town. Like you just get in there and you just there's some there's some younglings playing in the fountain,
somebody
and
help.
and then you're just like it's just gonna start raining ebony ingots.
It's so funny. It's
Make
always
it rain.
I gotta definitely give some credit to some of the physics engines in this game. I think it was like today I was like running around and I walked into a what was it? I walked into a blacksmith sign, like the sign of the blacksmith, right? Which is like the metal sign with the anvil or whatever. I walked into it and I hit it so hard with my head that it flew forward, flipped around the backside, and hit me in the back of my head and took a chunk of health away from me. It's like, ow, damn, man. Like, and then because when objects fall in the game and they hit you, they hurt, man. So I just love the idea of like spawning in like a bunch of ebony ingots, like making it rain, and then it just like falls down and lands on people and kills them. Oh man, it's so funny. Yeah, the game's really fun. I love the mods. I have like a lot of I'm kind of an immersion boy, you know, and I like things to kind of be immersive. Which is funny because I actually spent a lot of time putting Ahigao t-shirts in my game because I thought they would be funny, and I was also doing some mod experimenting with them. But you know what that is, right? The Ahigao shirts. Have you seen those, Lettuce?
No.
Uh, the Ahigao shirts are the If you've ever seen the hentai lady print before, have you ever seen that?
No, but I'm also not a weeb.
Okay. So the Ahigao style clothing is basically what they do is they take a bunch of random faces of like hentai ladies as they are quote unquote finishing, and just the face. And basically what they do is they take a bunch of random ones and they just print them as like a print pattern all over whatever piece of clothing that they might be like that you might be using. And like I've seen like sweatshirts and t-shirts with like the Ahigao print, and it just looks really ridiculous and it's way over the top and it's like it's in your face, you know. And so I found out that there was a mod that somebody did that it's just the Ahigao t-shirts and with really intense body physics added into them. So like when you're walking around in those things, your parts are flopping every which way. But I actually put that on my game so that I could experiment with the physics engines. It's just experimenting. That's all it is. That's all it is. So I was experimenting with the physics engines with that.
Oh, they're different from you, Dad.
You're the reason why I have floppy boobs on my game, Dad. You did this to me. Can't you see that you're tearing this family apart? So yeah, but other than that, other than a couple of things that I did, it's primarily I do immersion stuff because I like the idea of being immersed in the game world and all that. And I'm even going as far as I'm choosing not to fast travel anywhere. I walk everywhere in the game. So
yeah, you have a tendency to set that limitation to yourself.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
Like the thing is like I saw you do that in Morrowind.
Oblivion, probably.
Oblivion, yeah. No, I saw you do it in Oblivion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, the Oblivion map isn't really that big. So there isn't times where you're just walking around with nothing going on.
Yeah.
There's always something somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you're having to run away from it like a bitch.
Shut up! You don't know me. I'll get strong one day, Dad. I'll get strong one day.
But that's not true for Skyrim. Skyrim is still pretty, barren.
Well, I mean, when you have the mods that I have, which are there's I have, first of all, the war mod, which is makes it so that the civil war in Skyrim is really
actually apparent.
Yeah, it's so okay. The civil war mod is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because when it comes to immersion and intrigue, and also, by the way, it's good for your pockets if you're looting all the bodies. It's got its good stuff because it really makes you feel like there's a war happening in the game.
You mean that thing they allude to in the opening
that never actually happens,
and then they make you kind of choose a side.
Yeah,
and then they're like,
yeah, I mean, I can definitely say that almost every playthrough I've ever had of Skyrim, I've never felt like there was an actual war happening ever. It just doesn't feel that way. But when you have this war mod on, battles are happening everywhere all the freaking time. And it actually it gets irritating because you'll be running somewhere and then all of a sudden you'll just walk into a war field where just Stormcloaks and Imperials are just beating the crap out of each other. And there, literally every time I walk into one where I don't really want to walk into it at all, which is pretty much the majority of the time, I'm just all right, assholes, just get your shit done and get the hell out, okay? Come on, guys, what are you doing? Get out of here. So, I mean, there's that, which makes trust me, it makes Skyrim feel really full, because we're talking about, I think the war mod that I use sometimes can have up to around 100 NPCs beating the crap out of each other, straight up. And on top of that, I also have a mod that makes it so that people are traveling. There's merchants that travel around. There are migrating bandits, migrating animals. So bandits that kind of travel in packs and they rob people and things like that on the roads. There's packs of monsters like wolf packs and just packs of different kinds of monsters and animals that travel around in different areas and they kind of target people and go after small villages and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's yes, I would agree with you on the idea that, yes, Skyrim is a lot more barren, but when you have mods that fill in all the space, it's not so bad, So I walk everywhere. I really do that.
I don't know. I'm just a fan of the fast travel system.
Well, another thing too is that also when you don't fast travel, it makes the game a lot more challenging because like one of the things that I used to do in the early days of playing the game was you would finish a dungeon, right? And you would get all your loot and you're like, okay, like I'm like a pound under being overweight, right? So like if I pick anything else up, like I'm fine right now, but if I pick anything else up, then I'm screwed, right? So then what your choice would be is you would be like, okay, well, I'll just fast travel to the town where my house is at. And then I'll just instantly be there and then I could drop off all my stuff. Well, when you're playing the way that I do, you're going to spend an hour on the road walking all the way back to your house, which may or may not be on the other side of the country, which has happened to me a couple times. And then you have to fight the urge to you either have to fight the urge to pick other things up that you find valuable as you are making your way back home on the long 1 hour travel, or you have to try to like figure out what is like less valuable from what is most valuable, desperately try to make your way to the nearest like town or an inn, try to sell off as much as possible as you can, or there's like wandering travelers, like try to sell to them. And like you just have to be really tactical about it. And another thing too is another part that makes it a lot more complicated when you're playing that way is I have the mod that makes it so that you have to eat, drink, and sleep, or otherwise you die. So when you're traveling on the road and you get hungry and you get thirsty and you get sleepy and you have access to none of that, it makes it very interesting and a lot more challenging, and I like that. So that's why I'm not sure if you would be like, I mean, I would love to share my mod list with you. I don't know if you'd be super into it because I have like those kinds of mods where it's like if you don't do this thing in this way, you'll die. You know, I have stuff like that.
Well, no, I mean, I play RP mode in New Vegas, so I know all about the yes, you are actually responsible for eating. Yes, you are actually responsible for staying hydrated. Yes, if you don't sleep, you start getting fatigued and it starts playing tricks on you.
Yeah. It's actually funny that you brought up New Vegas because that's the game that made me like, that's the game that I played as a teenager that made me realize that I love games that force you to eat, sleep, and drink. You know, that was the game that made me realize that because it was the first time I'd ever played one like that before. I loved it, and that's kind of what got me into playing games that are like survival based and stuff like that. Was Fallout New Vegas was the first one that really did that for me. And
I also like to play like high strength characters in Skyrim.
Yeah, where it's like your fatigue is amazing and you can carry tons of stuff, and
you can carry tons of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
That's the Well, I have a tendency to play like one or two builds. Either I play a stealth-based bow and arrow rogue.
That's pretty good. That's a lot of fun. That's kind of what I'm doing right now too.
Yeah. Or I play a unarmed only combatant.
That's right. You were mentioning to me earlier that you're a fisticuffs kind of guy. That's fun.
Well, that would just like Skyrim is full of systems that are easily broken.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the ones that aren't easily broken are just completely just obliterated from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize like you could like stack once you realize you could like stack buffs and enchantments.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you're wearing gauntlets that increase your armor rating.
Yeah.
But your armor rating
increases your base damage of your fists.
You're unarmed because you got that one perk.
Mm-hmm. Whew. That's another thing I should mention to give you a forewarning of my mod list that you want to use. I have a complete skill overhaul remake mod. So basically, it keeps some of the old skills, but primarily it has replaced a lot of the really boring or not very useful skills in the skill trees with really crazy, wild, and interesting new skills. Some of them that are like, oh, you now like have this active power that lets you do something because of this skill. Like,
Right.
and it's also really interesting because they actually take like they made the speechcraft skill actually useful, where it's like actually like things get literal. Like one of the things is there's a mod that makes it so that like not having speechcraft is really difficult to play the game. Like it's very difficult to make money and like, you know, work with people and get what you want in the game from people, whether they're merchants or just normal bystanders, without having speech perks. Like, you know, like that's one of the struggles that I've been having in my game is it's been really difficult for me to make money. And a part of that too is also because I don't have any perks in speech. And that's really important business because of some of the mods that I have and I haven't utilized them at all. And thus money is hard to acquire at the moment in the game. So, I want to say that I think they added like I think that they added some like perks that make unarmed better. It like more useful overall. Like I think they have like the normal one that you're used to, but I think they added like new stuff. Like I think they added like special power attacks or something for using your fists instead of a weapon. And maybe some other stuff as well. So you'd probably like that. Um, yeah. I definitely I definitely love using weapons in the game. I've never been a fisticuffs kind of guy, but
As long as heavy armor still has fist of steel.
I'm not sure. It's possible. Is that where I haven't really looked much into
That's
the heavy armor stuff.
that's the second level perk
Mm-hmm.
and heavy armor that ties your unarmed attacks to the armor rating
Mm-hmm.
of your heavy armor gauntlets.
Okay. Okay. I will. I want to believe that, like, you know, because there were a lot of people who thought that the fisticuff stuff was really cool, but they didn't utilize it right. So I would not be surprised if, like, the skill overhaul that I got, the skill overhaul mod, probably adds more to using your fists in that skill tree. I wouldn't be surprised. So that would probably be really fun to kind of look into. Um, but yeah, it's just like I really like how it feels like I'm playing a new game, you guys. Like that, like I feel like yes, it feels more like I'm not playing Skyrim, but I feel like I'm playing a new game that happens to be located in Skyrim. Like it's like the sequel to Skyrim. It's not Elder Scrolls 6. You know? So it's like Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Part 2, you know.
Yeah.
So that's been super entertaining, and I would love to share my mod list with you. I haven't, I'll be honest, even though I'm playing with all of the nudity mods, I haven't really taken advantage of them yet. Like I've been so busy trying to establish my character into a comfortable position where she's like really powerful and, you know, has like money and places to live and things like that, that it's just been like I've been so distracted with doing that I haven't really done any sexy activities yet in the game. So, but I'll get there. I'll get there eventually. So, um, yeah. So I remember in the last podcast we were kind of like we briefly mentioned um, the Steam Deck, and I was wondering if you wanted to talk more about it. By the way, because I kind of want to move away from Skyrim because we talked about that a lot in the previous episode.
Well, yeah. I was just poking around the web and realized that the Steam Deck is coming in
That's what she
December.
said.
Well, I mean, no, I'm coming. The Steam Deck is probably why.
Yeah, that's hot. That's
Yeah,
hot.
it
I like that.
is. Yes, skeet skeet.
Virtual skeet.
But I was looking at it and it struck me as kind of as weird as the Steam Deck is a class of device
Mm-hmm.
that seems like it's burgeoning, and it's no longer, and it's not unique anymore. There's actually competitors that are out now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard about any. Is it just like they're not as popular, or they're not as good, or do
They're
people just not care?
None of them are made by a company as large as Valve.
Hmm. Okay. Are they any good though? Like, are they worth your money and time?
There's one that looks pretty good.
Okay.
Uh,
Do they access Steam? Like, is that like part of their thing?
well, I mean, their thing is that they are basically uh, handheld computers,
Okay.
and this is where this product line is going. They're giving you basically devices that are um, full fat computers, like with actual computer gaming, not like ARM based SoCs like you're now seeing in the MacBook or in smartphones and tablets.
In other words, what you're saying is that they're designed for like hardcore gaming, basically, like
Well,
rather than like simplistic, like Google Store stuff or something like that, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
they're well, they can handle like actual like hardcore gaming.
Hmm.
They've got like full fat processors, memory, like full fat graphics, like you would expect to see on a low to mid range current gen gaming PC.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Like, I mean, I just wonder. Like, I'm just curious as to why, like, they're not talked about very much. I mean, I get the idea that it's like, oh well, it's not a big company like Steam, but I feel like that, if they were revolutionary in the sense of like they were on the power level of whatever Steam is working on for their hardware, I would feel like that people would talk about it at least a bit. Like, I mean, I guess I don't keep up with gaming news as much as I used to, but I
Well,
just, mhm.
no, you don't. Um, the the big thing is the Steam Deck isn't really as uh hasn't caught a lot of traction. Like
Right.
I think a lot of the conversation around it kind of died down. Like everybody complained about the price,
Yeah, yeah.
and then but then anybody who knows anything looks at it and goes, yes, if you're just straight up comparing this to the Nintendo Switch, yes, this is expensive as hell.
Mhm. It's probably more powerful though, right?
Infinitely more.
Yeah, so at that point, I'd be like, "Okay, well, you're paying more for more power."
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Steam Deck, one of the big competitor that to the Steam Deck, that the one that kind of like got the consensus, this is the competitor to go for. It's
Mhm.
called the A Neo.
Okay.
Um, it's a basically just a handheld, a handheld computer. It's got a laptop grade Ryzen 5, uh, Radeon level graphics.
Mhm.
The kind of stuff that you would see in a $900 like a $900
Hmm. Okay.
HP laptop or something like that.
So
Just
it's not messing around with the hardware. In other words, like it's actually like you're like you mentioned before, you're basically buying a new computer, pretty much.
yeah, you're these things, they look like, I mean let's be real, they look like handheld game consoles,
Hmm.
but underneath the hood they're full fat computers.
That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I definitely like the idea that as time is going on, we're because like you said, like, you know, you when you're holding it, it feels like you're holding a game machine, but it's actually a computer. And it's like, I kind of like the how as time is going on, these really complicated, powerful computers are becoming just overall more accessible and easier to acquire. And like more like, oh, like, you know, little Timmy can get his, you know, like $900 quality computer, but it's designed to look like a game system, but he can play just about anything he wants on it. And it's like, that's cool. I like that level of accessibility, you know, like it just, I don't know. As a person who's not like a super complicated, like, you know, I'm not into programming. I'm a dimwit when it comes to computers in general. But it's like they're making it easier and more accessible for, you know, computer stupid people like myself. And that makes me really happy, you know? I
Yeah.
like that. That's cool.
Yeah, the A&E Pro, which granted is a $1,200 device.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at something with a Ryzen 7, a current gen Ryzen 7 4800U, which is the kind of APUs that companies like Asus puts in gaming laptops, like
Mm-hmm.
not the high end ones, but the mid tier, low tier ones
Okay.
that also serve as their thin end lights. And that's what these handheld devices are at this point.
That's kind of
They're
cool. I'm still a fan of that. I think that's, even if they are like middle tier, like they're not like the best of the best, that's still pretty awesome. Like I said, that sounds great for little Timmy. He's probably a big
well,
fan.
well. I mean, the price is still like $1,200, but I mean, you're getting you're getting a, you know, 1,400, you know, the production from a $1,400 laptop and a $1,200 a $1,200 device, mostly
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, you're not paying for a, you know, a 14-inch OLED display.
Right.
You're paying for a 7-inch OLED display.
You mentioned that there are some people complaining about the price, though. Do you think that that's still too intimidating for people to like 100% get on board for, you know, with these devices?
Uh,
Especially if they're comparing it to like the Nintendo Switch or whatever.
yes. If people look at this thing and all they see is a handheld gaming device,
Yeah.
uh, even at the low end prices
Mm-hmm.
of the um, Steam Deck, it doesn't look all that favorable. But what it seems like nobody's realizing is it's a full Windows 10 PC, like full Windows 10 or full Windows 12 PC,
Mm-hmm.
and the A and Neo has USB-C ports
Right.
and that handle display out. Like you could dock your A and Neo into a USB-C dock and display out to a TV and a keyboard and a mouse, and
Right.
you've got a full fat and you've got a pretty good desktop computer.
Okay. Well, because that was actually like one of the main concerns I was thinking about too, is because like my thing about like one of the reasons why I'm not a console gamer anymore, guys, is because I kind of like as I got older and I started having to like prioritize like, you know, where my money is going and like being smart about my expenses and what I'm buying. I kind of like realized that like one of my major issues with video game consoles is the fact that you can only play video games on them. Like that, and that's it. And that kind of, as I got older and became an adult having to be smarter with my money, I kind of realized, well, if I'm going to buy a computer, which is what a video game console is basically, then I want to be able to make sure that it's not just for games. Like I want to be able to, work on it. I want to be able to search the internet. I want to be able to, edit videos and edit audio and, just do everything that you would do with a totally normal desktop computer. But also make it so that I can play games on it too, you know? And that's the thing is like why I don't like buying video game consoles anymore is because they're primarily designed for one purpose, which is playing video games. And it's like, well, I have a lot of things I got to do and I need a computer. And if I'm going to be spending like, like what Lettuce mentioned, like 1200, 1400 or something around that, amount, which is a lot, or at least for me, it's a lot anyways. I want to be able to make sure that I'm using it for all sorts of things. Like I don't want it to just be like, oh, I only turn it on like a couple times a day to play like a game. So if these things are actually designed to be like straight up like handheld computers where it's like, oh, I can like edit my videos on it. Like I can play a game and then I can like, bring it over and hook it up to my TV like Lettuce just mentioned and then start working on, doing my work emails on it or, editing my videos on it or, I'm going to look up that, hot Skyrim booby mod or something, like or whatever it is you're into. Like I think that that's more of the direction that video game consoles should go. I think that we're getting to a point of where PCs and consoles should just be indistinguishable at this point. Like I mean, but that's just my opinion. I mean, there's probably people who'd be like, no, like consoles need to stay as just video game consoles, and it's like I like them to be more convenient for multi-purpose usage. Like that's kind of what I think. And if that's what these like things that you're mentioning, like I mean, you're talking more about systems that are kind of like the Steam Deck, but not actually the Steam Deck. And if that's what they're designed to do, then I'm all for it. Like, I mean, that would probably even be something that I would genuinely want to invest my time and money into, because knowing that it's, I can do whatever I want on it, not just play games, So I'm hoping that, when it gets to that point, the price tag is less intimidating for people because they know that you can do so much more with it than just play games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what, and I think that's where the value of something like this comes from. And that's kind of got what's got me so excited about the Steam Deck is at its low end,
mm-hmm.
the Steam Deck is still, and the only thing that we don't know about the Steam Deck right now is that they are promising a dock. They're promising a dock that the thing slaps into that will run DisplayPort out, will give you an Ethernet port,
right,
and a couple of USB ports. Just like if you have a laptop, a lot of these laptops now, they have you can buy like if they have a USB-C port, you buy a USB-C dock. You can put the dock, plug the dock into your laptop. It handles charging it, but also while you're in your dock mode, you can have your display and whatever kind of devices you need to have at your desk. At work, I have a laptop because I travel a lot. But if I'm in my office, I have a dock that I slap my laptop into, and it treats it like a full computer. And I just think it's really interesting that these devices exist.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was kind of crossing my mind while you were discussing it about the dock is where, like, I feel like that I have never heard of the idea of these docks for these smaller computers that allow them to then be used as larger, more powerful computers. I feel like I'd never heard of it until the Nintendo Switch started implementing it into their game systems. Do you think that
laptops have been doing that for about a decade now?
Okay. Okay. So then it is a concept that's older than the Switch, but I feel like it wasn't like as mainstream and like am I wrong about that? Like is it that it wasn't as popular until the Switch was like this is like a major feature for our system and it's like, "Oh, well now people want
Well,
that
it's
kind of thing."
the weird feature of the system, but no, you're kind of wrong about that.
Okay.
Um, it's been a thing in the enterprise space for a while because of workers like me.
Mhm.
If you have, let's say, you have somebody, like let's say you have a workforce that spends a lot of time out on the road,
Mhm.
and you have very limited office space to where maybe uh, your workers don't have an assigned desk. Because let's say you have 20 people,
Say you're
but
all
you
stacked on top of each other and you're desperately trying to get your work done.
well no. Let's say you work in an office environment where there's 20 people there, but you only really have 10 desk spaces,
Right. Right.
but you never expect to have more than 8 people in
Mhm.
your office at any given moment.
Right.
You're not, so in order to just not assign desk spaces because you just don't know what the configuration's ever going to be day from day,
Mhm.
you give everybody a similar laptop. Everybody has kind of like the same desks and the same docks and monitors.
Mhm.
And so when a worker comes in and they want to be on the network, they want to use their they need they can use a larger display, the keyboard and whatever. They just pick a desk, slap it in the dock,
Mhm.
and get working that way. That's been a thing for decades.
Yeah.
It's never been quite mainstream because
It's
it's
never
not been
had to be.
yeah it's not a common home use
Yeah.
because the computer at your home, either you had a laptop and you were fine with the laptop and you didn't necessarily care about having a bigger display at any point, so you just didn't bother because you just didn't have the space for it, or it's just not something you needed and you just kind of just forwent it,
Mhm.
or you had a laptop but your laptop doesn't need to do the things your desktop does. Your desktop's a more powerful device. It's hogging up the display, and your laptop's just kind of a floater device.
Right.
But all your powerful stuff, your gaming and all your hard work is done on your desktop because it's more capable.
Hmm.
Because up until just recently, your laptop was lacking in a lot of things.
So, do you think that these Steam Deck style computers are going to be taking over more in the workspace rather than in,
No,
say, like the casual home space?
no,
You don't think so?
no. Uh, well, mostly because they look like toys. Like
Okay.
I mean, the Steam Deck legit a um has thumbsticks and a D-pad and trigger buttons.
Well, I'm sure that they would like. I mean, I would assume so. Is that they probably have it set up so that you could like plug a keyboard into it or something, right?
Uh, well, one of the competitors has a slide-out keyboard.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Um. So, have you ever heard of a netbook?
Yeah, I've heard of netbooks before. They're the like really skinny laptops, right?
Okay. So, and they're kind of and they kind of came and went
Right.
because the iPad did what the netbook was going to do, but in a much sexier form factor.
Sure, sure. I could see that.
Uh, but the
Sexy laptops.
Yeah. So the netbook was like an ultra small, very not powerful, very not capable laptop. You're looking at laptops like right now, a small laptop is 13.3 inches.
Okay.
That's kind of the industry standard for small laptop.
Sure.
Netbooks were 10 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought was they're cheap, they're small, but they're not very capable. But with everything being on the internet, maybe they don't have to be.
I was just about to say, it sounds like they're designed to operate on like cloud and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They kind of went away because tablets and smartphones just kind of beat them to the punch.
They were just not as sexy. They were not as sleek and hot and delicious and, well, also probably not as powerful, but
yeah, just not as powerful.
More on the bottom end than the top end, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. And now you have the Chromebook, which is kind of like a full-size laptop netbook thing.
Sure.
Because they run on the ARM SoCs that mobile devices do, which netbooks. That was the thing about the netbooks is that they ran on the same low power mobile CPUs that never really took off until just recently. So that they could be smaller because you didn't have to, design intricate cooling systems for them.
Well, I mean, sometimes, I guess it depends on, like, what kind of hardware they're using, but, I mean, I have memories. I don't really use laptops anymore. I used to. And one of the things I didn't like about them is they get so damn hot. They get so damn hot. Like, burning my thighs, man. It's just like, bro, what are you doing?
Chestnuts roasting on an open laptop.
Yeah, basically, like I felt like I was being like literally physically grilled. It's like, like what kind of S&M shit is this? I'm just trying to get my work done here. What are you doing?
Okay, so here's the size of the Steam Deck.
Are you like sending me a pic? Oh, okay.
No. The size. It's lengthwise. It's just under 12 inches.
Okay.
The display is probably a 7. It's a 7-inch display.
Okay.
It's 11 inches long, just under 12 inches long, just a little bit over 4.5 inches tall, and just under 2 inches thick.
Damn, she sounds hot. Okay.
And it kind of and I'm pretty sure it has to be this big because it's accommodating. The device is accommodating a D-pad, 2 thumbsticks, and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look up a picture of it right now. So
the Steam Deck?
Yeah. So I want to see I haven't seen anything about. I mean, I watched when it was first announced, I watched a video that talked about it a little bit. But ever since then, I haven't seen anything about it whatsoever. Okay. Huh. It looks pretty sleek.
Yeah, no. If it didn't have all the gamey stuff on the sides there, what you have is something that's maybe twice as long and twice as long. So it's basically 2x the size,
right,
of a big smartphone. Like the large flagships phones are about 6 inches long by 3 inches wide, and a half-inch thick.
I gotta say though, the button orientation is a little funkalicious. Have you seen this with the?
Oh yeah, no.
The buttons right next to the analogs. That's really weird.
Yeah. If you saw the tablet on the Wii U.
Uh-huh.
did the same shit.
Really? Is it comfortable or is it awkward? Because I assume you've had experience with the Wii U, because I haven't.
It's a little awkward, to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward only
Mhm.
because, and the thing is the problem with the Wii U was uh the controls were on the top of the device,
Mhm.
so the bulk of the weight was on the bottom, kind of mostly unsupported.
Right, right.
Um, the Steam Deck also has two thumb pads below on each side.
Yeah, those are the touchpads, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
those
was
are
about to ask you if that's what those were.
those are the trackpads.
That's kind of
Uh,
cool.
okay, so imagine a device.
I'm imagining it sounds like we're in a pitch meeting right now and you're trying to pitch me like, "Listen here, boys. I got this idea. Let me pitch this to you." Imagine, if you will, a game system where the analogs are right next to all the buttons.
No, no. Now imagine the Steam Deck
Okay.
where there isn't controllers attached to it.
You mean like in other words, like you're not plugging in a controller to it?
Well, no. It's a device that's just a display.
Okay. Like in other words, ignore the analogs, the buttons, and the D-pad, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Now make the display 10 inches. 10 inch 16:9.
Okay. All right.
But give it that power. Like make
Like
it.
in other words, just treat it as like a computer that you can't directly control on the computer, but you can plug stuff into it and thus
Yeah,
give it more power. Is that
well,
what you're saying?
no. Just kind of imagine like a tablet, like your smartphone.
Sure. Okay.
Only it's
Right.
about twice as big.
Okay.
Think of the iPad Mini.
All right. Okay.
It's a device that you can, that you carry around. It's got a on-screen. You have to deal with an on-screen keyboard at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's used to dealing with them because even if if you're not an iPad user, if you've had a smartphone, you've used a on-screen keyboard.
Sure. Sure.
And even, I mean, the Steam Deck is going to force you to use an on-screen keyboard
Probably. That would make sense.
unless you have it docked and have a keyboard attached. But you've got a device that you just carry around with you. It's slightly smaller than it's about twice the size of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's about twice as thick as your phone,
Okay. All right.
and you carry it around with you, and it's your phone, or it's your communication device. The word phone is antiquated at this point.
Honestly, just like at this point, like I kind of see phones, quote unquote, as just palm computers. Like that's all they are. Like at this point, they're
Well,
just little computers.
and the way we communicate through them is going to probably change in the next 10 years.
You mean phones, or you mean the Steam Deck or Steam Deck
Phones.
style stuff?
Phones.
Okay, phones in general. Got it.
We're going to end up going to the abandoning the voice part of the GSM spectrum.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna end up abandoning that, and everything's just gonna be treated like data. Your call is, anytime you call somebody, it's gonna be like a Skype call.
Sure. Okay. Like or FaceTime or whatever, right? Yeah. Like,
yeah.
where it's just like you see your face, you have a conversation, but it's not like the phone is against your ear or anything like that.
Right. I mean,
Right.
it can be. But let's say you have this phone. You have this phone in your hand, and it's a little bit more unwieldy, but not by much.
Right.
But you take it home and you slap it into a dock, and then
It's just a computer.
And then that computer's playing the latest AAA video games.
Yeah. I could see that.
Like you take your phone and you slap it into a dock, you grab a controller, and now you're playing Far Cry 7.
It's kind of like it sounds like what is going on is, or what they're ideally trying to set up is they're streamlining all computers or like all usages on a computer into like a singular device that is like powerful enough to be able to handle all of it and still be convenient enough to be carried on you. So
Right.
like even if it is unwieldy to begin with, I bet you like over time it's just going to get smaller and smaller. Just like the it's just what phone like cell phones did when they began. Like they just kept getting smaller and smaller until they are what they are now. So like if the Steam Deck is like or Steam Deck style computers are the next step up, then they may be unwieldy when you start, but they're just going to get smaller and smaller as time gets on, and then next thing you know, it's like your most powerful computer is just literally in your ass pocket, So
Right. Well, eh,
I mean, over time, like I mean, that's just the natural root of technology.
except for there's a limit to how far you can miniaturize something.
Okay.
And there's also a limit to how little power you can feed something. The more power you have to feed something, the hotter, the more you're going to have to worry about thermal issues.
Yeah, burning your balls off, right? I get that.
Well, burning your balls off. So people still have to concern themselves with if we're going into a world where we trade in our phones, our current smartphones, which granted do a lot, and they're pretty, pretty handheld.
Okay.
Like they're small devices. They're thin. They're light. They're not even a quarter-inch thick. The problem is like they do have limitations, and there will always be a limitation as to what they can do, because you can't, in this form factor, there's just not a lot of way to dissipate the heat of doing something more power intensive. That's something that laptop manufacturers have had an issue wrapping their heads around.
I mean, that makes perfect sense because goddamn do laptops get hot.
Until just recently.
Oh, did they like change something or did they discover something new?
AMD is changing the game. Like if you look at the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck competitors,
okay,
they're based off of Ryzen.
Okay.
AMD has changed the game as far as low voltage power over low voltage consumption.
Okay, so
they've made laptop processors as powerful as their desktop counterparts, and sometimes even more powerful, but with smaller and smaller TDPs.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest, I don't know what that means. So, because I'm a computer idiot. So,
well, that was one of those things that I said that I would help you with.
Okay. I'm glad. I feel like one of the things that I gotta say right off the bat, like I know this is a little distraction from what we're talking about, but one of the things I love about our podcast, Lettuce, is you and me are two very completely different minded people with two completely different sets of knowledge. Sometimes I like to think that I'm the stupid one and you're the smart one, but we both come from different ends of it.
Right.
So I'm glad that like I have you here to kind of like explain all this stuff that I completely can't even begin to fathom on my own. So I appreciate you, buddy.
TDP is thermal. TDP is a thermal design power. It's basically the power consumption under the maximum load.
Okay.
That a processor can handle. So full load, a processor, these Ryzen processors are giving you 8 cores or 16 cores in some of these mobile processors. They've actually got mobile processors with 16 cores now. That are giving you 4.5 gigahertz all core boost, and still doing it with a TDP of 90 watts.
Okay.
Whereas just like maybe not even 3 years ago, your high end laptop processor was giving you 6 cores at the most, and you were getting 4 gigahertz, but it was still like 120 watt TDP. So that's where we're going, and if we're gonna get to the point where we can cool a processor, if we can cool a processor that is powerful as the processor that you have in your gaming PC, or we could cool a processor that is as powerful as the ones that Sony and Xbox are putting in their next gen gaming systems. If we can cool it in a device that, granted, is thicker than the device we're currently carrying now,
yeah,
that's
like
an
a
awesome
phone is what you're saying.
Yeah, something the size of a phone. If we can come up with a way to cool a full fat processor in something that is not much bigger than your phone, to where we can comfortably hold it, carry it in our pockets, pull it out, make a phone call, surf the internet, without burning our faces off.
Yeah.
Or getting shit-tastic battery life. Because that's the other thing is battery life is another concern on these devices, and that's why the Steam Deck is so large. Most of that Steam the body mass of the Steam Deck
is
going to be the battery.
Yeah.
Most of the weight in the thin and light laptop is its battery.
Yeah.
So if we can design these systems, and the Steam Deck is basically a good first shot at a design of something that you could fit in a big pocket. I mean, the Switch itself is not very pocketable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. I know that they've kind of like advertised it that way a little bit, but
the Switch Lite is a lot better at it. But like the full Switch,
like
first of all, having something with thumbsticks just makes it
awkward. Yeah,
it just makes it awkward.
That makes perfect sense.
But who knows? Maybe we will normalize wearing fanny packs again.
I was about to say, because it took me back to like the early 2000s where everybody was carrying like a laptop bag. It was in the early 2000s, like having a Merce was totally normal because every dude was carrying their laptop in a big ass like laptop bag,
Yeah, no, the fanny pack. Let's get the fanny pack back.
We'll bring fanny packs back. It'll be great.
Yeah, you can hold your personal communication device / gaming computer and some snacks.
Some snacks. You could pull out your Steam Deck and a little fruit leather, and you'll be good for the day.
or your juice box.
Yeah, your little Capri Sun and your Lunchable.
You got a Yoo-hoo up in there.
Little Timmy would be proud. I'm sure he'd be very proud.
Absolutely. But these are. This is actually kind of why I'm excited for the Steam Deck in this class of device.
Because of the fanny packs? You're excited because of the fanny packs?
Well, that too. But like in my life, I have to carry a laptop. I have to carry a smartphone, and actually I carry 2 because of work.
Right.
I have to carry a laptop for work. if I'm traveling for work, I've got to pack. I'm going to pack my Switch.
Mm-hmm.
If I can live in a world where
all those things you listed off are one device.
it's just one device.
Yeah, that does sound really nice.
It's just one device, and maybe I have to carry a dongle or a portable dock.
Sure.
For some things.
But that's better than carrying like 6 different kinds of computers, right?
Right. That's better. That's better than carrying my laptop and cable and connection cables, and
your 3 phones and
my 3 phones and
yeah.
and my Switch if I'm traveling for long periods of time, and I just want to make sure that I have that with me so that I'm not bored in a hotel room.
Yeah, I get that.
Like if the one thing does everything,
mm-hmm.
and it's no bigger, and it's not much bigger than the one than a large sized flagship phone, mm-hmm. I could kind of see a shift happening.
That'd be pretty revolutionary when it comes to technology. I would definitely agree with that. But I feel like that's like always kind of been the thing that people like, that, it's always sought after. But at the same time, like, one of the things that I also wonder is like, would the industry want that? Because like a lot of the time, you have stuff where like one of the things I can think of is like Apple, where they're like, oh yeah, like use our Apple phone, but it's not like an Android where like every Android can all be plugged into the same recharging cord. Like it's like, oh, I have this Android or I have this kind of Android, and they all use the same kind of Android, charger, right? Whereas Apple's like, no, we have our one phone and it's unique to us. Oh, and also we have our unique charger for our unique phone that is not compatible with anything else except for our product. So don't you think that, like, even though it would be nice to have all these things in one device, do you think that that's what the quote unquote industry wants? Like, Don't they want exclusivity to like whatever they're building or working on technologically?
No.
You don't think so? You think they actually want to make it like really convenient? Because I mean, if you make it more exclusive to your product, then you can sell more products.
One of the non-price things that scares people away from purchasing devices, from purchasing Apple devices,
mm-hmm.
is the fact that they need special cables.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't like buy Apple stuff. I mean, there's a few reasons why I don't buy Apple stuff, but that's definitely one of them, like a major one.
If we normalized and Android devices, the reason why like the Android the Android space is so kind of gooey,
mm-hmm.
is because you have like so many different companies producing their own things, and there's not this one unifying kind of underpinning.
Mm-hmm.
If there is, it's always got to cover the lowest common denominator. I think something like this, like normalizing something like this, where everybody's like, oh, you've got a full fat computer. Okay, it can do this, 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 and this. The only thing, like the one thing that's kept Windows phones from ever really being a thing, was that it was just another. It felt like when the Windows Phone OS always felt like it wasn't the Windows OS that was the same that's on my computer, because it's not.
Yeah.
It didn't as much as they touted those interoperability features, they were never as smooth as the interoperability features that Apple users experience between their iPhone, their iPad, and their Mac.
God, you know what just suddenly came back to me that I haven't literally thought about in an insanely long time? It just suddenly hit me. Do you remember, because you brought up Windows and Windows Phone, do you remember Zune? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, the Microsoft MP3 player.
Yeah, that were a total flop and like like nobody bought them or cared about them.
Well, the thing with Zune's like we're gonna compete with the iPod,
Yeah.
and Apple's like, bro, we stopped making those.
Yeah, that's right. They came right in at the end. It was so ridiculous.
It's like we tried making like iPhones without the phone feature and selling them as iPad, and everybody's like,
Bruh.
I'll just spend the extra $50 to get the phone.
Yeah, well, because like the MP3 player era is over. It's long gone, long dead, and because phones do everything now, right?
Yeah, well, the phones. I mean, everybody's like the MP3 player was. You had an iPod or you had a cheap Chinese knockoff.
Well, one of the things that I was following, like me and my dad, we used to be really into Creative. Do you remember Creative? They were primarily like
they made sound card. They used to make sound cards for PCs.
Yeah, I think
still,
they're out of business now, though, aren't they?
No,
They
still
make stuff. Okay, we used to buy their MP3 players, and they were some of the best high quality MP3 players I've ever had. In fact, actually, I still have a Creative MP3 player that I rarely use now. I used to use it all the time, but it still operates and it still holds a ton of music that I love listening to. So I mean, there were some competitors, but it's just like that's like the Zune was just, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, Creative Labs still makes actually they still make sound cards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like,
but they just don't make MP3 players or anything anymore.
Well, I mean, no one really makes MP3 players. But,
yeah,
but like,
yeah.
you could still buy a Sound Blaster sound card for your computer.
I mean, is Creative even a standard for most computers at all?
The Sound Blaster, the computer standard for computer audio is AC97.
Okay, that kind of answered that question then. So they're not super. Okay, I get it.
Like it used to be, you had to have a Sound Blaster to play games on your computer. That went away. The dodo when motherboard manufacturers took the AC97 codec,
right,
and put that chipset in their motherboard and gave you audio, because it used to be not something that was baked into the system.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like sound on your computer used to be an add-on, used to be a very expensive add-on.
Right.
And now it's a afterthought chipset that's just
pretty normalized at this point, right?
Yeah, it's I haven't seen I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a motherboard that doesn't have an audio chip.
Yeah.
An AC97 audio chipset.
That makes sense.
But Sound Blaster still makes DACs, and a like a high definition gaming sound card.
Mm-hmm.
It's so they're still Creative Labs is still around.
Okay.
Yeah, good. I know. I remember their little thumb drive MP3 players.
I used to love, I liked Creative specifically because of their MP3 players. Like, that's what I remember the most about them, was they made really good, high-quality MP3 players. And like I said, the one that I have, it still operates. I could literally pull it out right now and, turn it on, and it would still be extremely functional and play all the music I want, and it never had any problems. It was a solid-state drive MP3 player. And I got it back in middle school. I was 14 or 15 years old when I got that damn thing. It still operates. It's still great. Like I said, I don't really need it anymore, but it's nice knowing that it's still available and operable, I like stuff like that. I like it when, items are built to last like that. That's great.
Right. So, but yeah, so I'm just excited for the Steam Deck.
Me too, man. It sounds like you've kind of hyped it up for me, to be honest.
Like, only because I kind of want this kind of device to be normalized, and then I want, once it's in people's hands, I want people to be like, I use my Steam Deck to make Teams calls. I use my Steam Deck to, even though like the Steam Deck doesn't actually have a camera on it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a camera or anything like that on it. At least I don't think it does.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it must be dumb if it did. I mean, it has a microphone, so you could use it for audio calls.
Okay.
It doesn't have a webcam, but again, there's a USB-C port, so I mean, if you absolutely had to slap a webcam on your Steam Deck, you probably could.
Is it weird that I think that it should have a built-in web camera? Like, is that a weird thought? Because like, so I have like my Nintendo DS, right? That thing's got like 3 cameras on it, 3 or 4 cameras on it.
Yeah, but the DS cameras were kind of there for a purpose that never
it's
got.
It's for the 3-dimensional stuff, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, no, the DS cameras, they were going to do a lot with augmented reality,
right?
Except for they didn't. So that's what those cameras were there for.
Okay, I gotta interrupt you for a second. I need to use the bathroom, so Can we pause real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and hit pause.
All right.
Yep. We're back.
Yep. I apologize. I was dying.
No, you're okay. But yeah, so no, excited about the future.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds like I'm kind of excited to kind of see where it goes and if it really streamlines, computers and technology in the way that you're mentioning it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's just if we have the technology to right now make a device that, granted, is slightly bigger than the devices we're used to, but it also has the capabilities of replacing 4 devices.
Mm-hmm.
I want that to succeed, and I want that to become the market norm.
Right.
So I'm probably going to be picking one up for myself as a late Christmas present.
There you go. Well, I mean, and then you can kind of give me like the full breakdown of it, and then maybe I can look into it myself. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not like totally against it or anything, because like, I mean, I would still buy something like that, especially because like, I don't know, like you said, like if it can kind of replace a few things, then maybe I'd be interested in it. And I would like the idea of being able to like edit videos and edit audio on the go, because I don't really have the ability to do that. So,
or if I know I'm going to be on the road and I need to record a podcast with you, all I've got to do is make sure that I have a reasonable microphone as part of my travel kit.
Mm-hmm.
That is assuming that the microphones on these are of poor quality, which they almost undoubtedly will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the built-in microphone is probably not the standard one that you would want to use.
No.
But do you think it would have a port for it? I mean, I guess most microphones are USB, so if it has a USB port, then I guess the answer would probably be yes.
I'm planning on carrying a portable dock.
Yeah.
With a device like this. So
yeah.
USB-C with a couple of A's, an HDMI display port, an Ethernet port. Mm-hmm. Just the standard things you find on almost any USB-C dongle at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
An SD card reader.
Mm-hmm.
Just any $30 USB-C dongle. That's what it gives you.
All right. Yeah, man. I definitely am curious about it. So, but I think we should probably wrap it up. We've talked about a few different things, and I feel like I've gotten some closure on the idea of what the Steam Deck is probably going to end up being. And I'll be honest, like I said, I think you kind of hyped it up for me, so I'm really curious to see what direction it's going to go. Um, do you have any like last like thoughts about Skyrim or the Steam Deck?
Yeah, I'm I'm actually looking into possibly getting into some Skyrim again. So if you want to send me that mod list, I'll get started working on it, and I'll see what it is that you're seeing.
Yeah, I will try. Do you know if there's like a way for me to just kind of like compile the list and send it to you like really quickly, or should I like actually take the time to like write them all down individually? Because
Mm, I think it's just kind of a suggestion where you like tell me which ones I have to install, like what I have to install and stuff, and
okay,
then
I can.
which ones you want me to try out.
Okay, I will kind of go through them and write them all down for you. So,
Oh,
um,
another thing I wanted to bring up at this podcast
uh huh.
was one of the games I was excited for in at E3 came out last weekend.
Okay.
WarioWare.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry we didn't go over that because you mentioned it to me at the
Oh
beginning. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
well it's a WarioWare game. I mean, what is there to say about it? Oh, Wario does WarioWare plays micro games. Um, this is probably the best WarioWare game I've played since the Game Boy Advance.
Was the first one on the Game Boy Advance? I thought the first one was on the DS.
Nope, the first one was Advance.
I had no idea. I had no idea that that was what it was. Huh.
Yeah,
I only knew about the ones on the DS.
the ones on the DS were trash.
Really? Really? Because I've heard like tons of good things about them.
Okay, so WarioWare Touched was okay. WarioWare Twisted, where you slapped a gyroscope into the Game Boy Advance port in order to do the twisted thing.
Uh huh.
That was terrible. The WarioWare on the Wii was just twisted, but instead of spinning around your your DS, you got to jerk off with your Wiimote. Because literally half of the games were you making that motion with the Wiimote.
Yeah, I know.
You're
I know
holding it
what
up.
you mean. I know what you mean.
But this
Just
game
whacking the
doesn't
Wii.
this game isn't doesn't ask you to do anything. That it's thumbsticks and single button control.
Okay.
Uh, each one of the WarioWare characters has different kind of ways they move,
Okay.
which makes certain mini games harder or easier
Mm-hmm.
depending on who they are
Okay.
and how they go about doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what the challenge is you choose you like how many characters that you have like a set list of characters that you choose before going into the game, and then it just randomly selects, and you don't know what game you're getting, and you don't know which character is being assigned to which game. So like as you're just fastly going through, you have to be like, okay, I'm getting this character. Oh shit, I'm in this game. How am I supposed to do this? Oh, this is how I do it.
Okay. So it's a bit more challenging then.
It's a bit more challenging. I've already beaten it, or I've already beaten the story. Now it's just cleaning up and doing all the unlocks. Um, I don't like the end game for this one. Uh, you got like a really good mini game
Okay.
for at the end of WarioWare Advance, and this game, your end game is character customization, and I just don't care about cosmetics that much. I guess
What? Dude, if you're not into like customization and cosmetics, I don't know if you're gonna like the Skyrim mods I sent you.
I like boobies.
Okay. Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, guys. I spent like half a day, almost a whole day, on making my main character as beautiful and sexy as I possibly could. So when I say I'm a fan of character customization, I mean I'm a fan of character customization.
No, you give me that level of character customization. Yes, I'm good with it. If you're asking me to palette swap or give them like a choice of 2 or 3 kind of just weird outfits, then I don't really care. But if you're going to give me
when it comes to the exact placement, the proper XY coordinates of every single nipple, then you're all aboard.
And you know, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm pretty sure Ashley is at least an adult. But if you give me a lewd mod for Ashley and Mona, I'm not going to complain.
All right.
Ashley is bae. She's the spooky girl of every boy's dreams.
Okay.
It's weird because her level was food themed this time, and I'm like, that doesn't work.
Food themed? Okay.
Yeah, Ashley, the spooky girl in the WarioWare crew. She got stuck in food themes. I'm like, food?
Yeah.
For Wednesday Addams, you're gonna give us food?
But
that's what.
Can you customize her nipples?
No, because this is a Nintendo game, you sick freak.
Then I don't see the point. I don't see the point. What's the point? If you can't customize the nipples, what are you doing?
Playing a Nintendo game for the kiddies.
Listen, I am deep into Lover's Lab Skyrim stuff. I don't even know what that means anymore. Family friendly. What the hell is that? I don't even understand. What are you doing?
But to our listeners who may or may not have a Switch and may or may not even like WarioWare,
it's worth it.
It's not a full price game, thankfully.
Okay, so it's worth it.
Yeah, there's a free demo. Play the free demo and see how you feel about it before jumping into the deep end. I mean, when I say it's not a full price game, it's still like $40.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because WarioWare has always been like a tech demo game, except for this is the least tech demo of the tech demo games that WarioWare has ever been.
Well, because wasn't the DS version supposed to be like the DS WarioWare was specifically designed so that it could like show off like all the features and capabilities of the DS, right?
Yeah,
because it used so many of them.
It used the touchpad. You blew into the microphone.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
So that was, and then you masturbated with the Wii.
yes, you did.
But it's,
okay.
I think if it's a good game, if price isn't a concern, yeah, pick it up. If you're looking for entertainment value per dollar, that's not the kind of game that you're getting with WarioWare. So
yeah, you're gonna want to go for Skyrim nipples if you're trying to get your money's worth.
Absolutely. Gotta play them nipples on your fridge after all.
You gotta get those jiggle physics down, bro. You can customize the jiggle physics, by the way, just saying. Which is something that I may or may not have done here and there. Okay, so we need to get going, buddy.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. I love doing these with you. So thank you for being here with me. And I'm gonna say, do you have anything you want to shout out, or go check out Lettuce's channel, even though he doesn't do anything?
Quit bullying me into posting content. I'm a busy beaver.
I mean, I'm not saying that you have to post content. I'm just saying that, you have a channel and you don't post anything on it. And I just want to make sure people know that. I just want to make sure that people are aware that you do, in fact, exist online. But you don't, give back to your loving, adoring fans, and that's okay. That's a choice that you can, in fact, make, which you have chosen to make. Not trying to guilt trip you, but kind of trying to, guilt trip you. I'm just kidding, buddy. You do whatever you want to do. I love you.
Oy vey.
So anyways, yeah, go check out Lettuce's channel, even though he doesn't do anything, because I love him. And I'm going to say all the other stuff, which is go ahead and like the podcast. Do it! Like it! Go ahead and like the stream. Go ahead and like the podcast if you liked it. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because it'll let you know when stuff like this is coming out. If you want to donate, that's greatly appreciated. It's really helpful. It goes straight towards the channel, which I greatly appreciate. And I'd like to give a special shout out to my Patreon members, which include Bo Falcon, Fajuk Enterprises, James P, Miss Rebecca, as well as Scorpigeist. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me on a regular basis. It's greatly appreciated, and you're all awesome, and I love you. So kisses. So other than that, I think I'm just going to go ahead and say what we always say, or what I always say, which is, we have been the Imaginary Boys, and we are out in 5,000.